Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to an unboxing of Hyperion for Nova Aetas Renaissance. But it is also some crossover stuff between that and Black Rose Wars. It's a little bit of 50-50. So, yeah, we're going to go over a lot of different new stuff. We're going to go over the Black Rose Wars stuff first. Got some cards, some personal mage spells, some forgotten spells, some tiles. And then we'll go over the Nova Aetas. And then when I get to the Nova Aetas, we'll kind of look at a general idea of what is in the set and what it does. And then we'll make sure I call spoilers so everyone knows before I go over the more story, the campaign stuff, the stuff you might not want to know. So that way you at least know what is in the box specifically before you decide if you want to keep walking around and you get spoiled on the very specifics of all of it. But yeah, this is a big, giant titan animal. It has a little G right here. A new and powerful titan is awakening from a millennium slumber. Hyperion, the Lord of Fire, is about to carry out his plan to set the world on fire. Hyperion is an expansion for Nova Aetas and Black Rose Wars systems. And Nova Aetas Renaissance, your company of adventures will face a side campaign consisting of 2 missions, culminating in a final confrontation and a hunt mission against Hyperion and his Miragons. In Black Rose War, you'll be able to use Hyperion as a new mage as an asymmetrical rules to represent enormous power unleashed to gain control of the Black Rose. So that's kind of cool. We're going to get some really neat stuff in there. Alright, so let's take a look at the figures, the miniatures first. So first up, of course, we have a big old giant Hyperion. He is massive. You got 2 big giant flaming swords. Interesting to notice all those little hands all over his body, like gripping onto his metallic boots. He's got hands coming out of his belt up here, hands off his top. It's very interesting. And of course he's got big giant wings. Which are all little things on here. So it's on fire. So there's a little bit of flames coming off his wings as well. Plus on his head. Definitely cool. And then he's got a little bit, he is also sharp. He'll have a little bit different rules for each game. For Black Rose Wars, he's just one model in the area. And then for Nova Aetas, he follows the rules for the miniature, for large miniatures, which means he takes up a lot of space, basically. Then you have his Miragons. I think they're kind of little, like, fiery phoenix soldiers that he just has summoned. Get a little better zoom up on that. Yeah. They kind of got, like, metal or claws on their hands. Yeah, cool. And we get 3 of them. And they'll play plenty of different parts in here as well. Alright, so that's what we have for the 4 different miniatures. So let's look at the Black Rose Wars stuff. So first of all, we have Hyperion as a mage that we can play as. So he does have some special rules to go with that. But his stats are, I like the fact his stats are different than the atypical stats. So he has 12 health, but he has 5 hands. He has 2 attack, but he can have 3 movement and 1 quest. So typically the bottom 3 is 2, 2, and 2, so he loses 1 quest to be able to gain some extra speed. Plus his health goes up a little bit higher to account for having less cards. But there's going to be some good reasons for that. So he has some special setups here. It says, during a step described in the core game box, apply the following rules. Step 8, Hyperion can be used as a mage. Take the Hyperion and the 3 Miragon models. The player using Hyperion and the Miragons. Just a second, I got everything mixed up over here. Does not have to clip any mage base to the models. So you don't have to count your colors, because if you're playing a big giant guy, you're probably the only person playing him. It should be easy to tell which one's which. And the Miragons only belong to him. No one else can have them, so it's not an issue there for that. Place the mage sheet on the mage board so that it shows the Hyperion side. Remove a World of Flame card from the Forgotten spell. Step 11, activate villain cells. The player using Hyperion replaces the cell with the Hyperion cell, then places the other two where they prefer on the perimeter of the lodge. Then turn the card over, follow additional rules. So, what you get is, you get the Hyperion cell, which is a big giant sword in the middle of the flame. Showing up on the opposite side, we just don't have the cell picture on there. And then we get two other smaller cells as well. So this one has a bunch of hands grasping. And then this one has some feathers. And again, they both have the alternate sides without the pictures on them. So he gets 3 different cells. So it's going to have some different rules to work with that. So special rules. Use the following rules when the mage card shows Hyperion's side. Attack. Your attacks target 1 space. If you're defeated, remove Hyperion model from the lodge and place the mirror drones in each of your cells. Then turn your mage card flip over to face the mirror drone sides. Basically, if he loses, he splits apart into those little fiery soldiers here. And then now you're playing as them. The Mirrodons. All Mirrodons are considered models of your mage. When you need to perform an action, first choose which of your models performs it. When you are ready to resolve, apply effects considered your mage without targeting a specific Mirrodon model. Choose one of your Mirrodons to resolve the applicating effects. When you are to resolve an effect, considers one of your mage without targeting a specific one. Oh, so let's just say, if anything, just says like, pick your mage gets to do this. You get to pick which one of the 3 gets to do it, unless it's saying like it's targeting a specific area. We perform a momentum action, perform it with each of your models. You can perform the Phangalix physical action. When you are defeated, remove the Mirrodon models from the lodge and place the Hyperion model in one of your cells and turn your mage card over to the Hyperion side. So then they die, they come back, and he gets to go in. So what's the opposite side of this thing look like? So we have the Mirrodons, which have 9 health, 9 hands. So you get a huge hand size, but a lot less health. But they only have 1 damage, 2 move, and 3 quests. So it's kind of like you want to have a lot of quests, you'll have these guys out. But then when they lose, you're going to have to lose a lot of your quests. They have the Phangalix physical action. Move a Mirrodon up to 1 space, and a Mirrodon performs an attack. Move up to 1. That did not move with it performs an attack, and move a 3rd one that did not move, and it attacks. So basically, you can have all 3 kind of move around the board at the same time with your physical action. But they're only going to do 1 damage. So this is kind of a neat, different way to play as a character. Going to swap back and forth between the 2. Otherwise, all other regular rules apply to them. Then while we are playing them, we also get our 3 personal spells. Burning in the Sky. If your mage card shows a Hyperion side, place yourself in the Black Rose room and put 2 damage to each mage in general. Just each mage. If your mage card shows a Mirrodon sides, activate a 0 space from a Mirrodon, activate 0 space from a Mirrodon other than the previous one, and activate a 3rd one. So yeah, they did just go ahead and activate whatever rooms they're in. So you can potentially activate up to 3 rooms, or you can inflict 2 damage to everybody. So it's pretty cool. Then we have our Forgotten card, which is a Burning World. So contingency that says inflict 2 damage to each mage. Summon Hyperion in the Black Rose room. So you can summon him as well, which is always really fun. Then if we flip to the other side, we have instead you can summon a Mirrodon in a red room, another one in a red room, and a 3rd one in a red room. And a Mirrodon other than the previous one activates. So yeah, kind of neat. So one way you can summon one guy, one you can summon the other. So you could potentially, if you get this card a 2nd time, somehow you could maybe have all of them out, which could be very interesting. Alright, then we have some stat cards for those as evocation. So as Hyperion, he's a legend and forgotten. Performs an attack, he targets a space. Hyperion puts 3 damage to each model that enters the room he is in. So yeah, 1 speed, 3 damage, 6 health. And then we get the 3 Mirrodons. Says they're just demons. Which is nice. You have more cards that trigger demon effects. has +1 attack for every Miragon in its space. So if they stick together, they're actually going to be pretty powerful. Otherwise, there's 2 movement, 1 attack, and 4 health. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We get some extra new forgotten spells to summon those guys. We get some new mage to play as. And that's about it. Otherwise, the rooms don't do anything else outside of that. But that is still pretty cool. Now, again, I was saying like previous box sets when they have both of these, is it's your choice whether you think that if you only play Black Rose Wars, is that enough for you to buy this set? Because obviously the price is going to reflect that it has content for both games. And the thing is, if you're for some reason not using the miniatures or don't care, or however, you might find someone else that only wants standees or something like that, you might be able to split the contents with somebody else. But of course you really need the miniatures, or you have to make your own standees to be able to play. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and look at what is overall in the Nova Aetas stuff, and see what's all in there. So to start off, we are going to have some new scenic terrain. We have some burnt trees, as well as we're going to have our Hyperion activation tokens, some new health tokens, and I'm guessing a little Miragon extra tokens there. We will have our draft card, or our enemy card for the Miragons. We'll get that. We'll have an event card. We'll have Hyperion's Hunt deck. The reward cards, which again, we'll go over these with spoilers. We also have the draft card, as well as some new injury cards, which should be interesting to look at. And then we have our 2 quests. So we have the Ritual and the Hunt, as well as our 2 envelopes that go with those. So yeah, we're going to go ahead. Let's take a look at the stuff that's not worried about being spoilers. So we have our enemy card for the Miragon. So they are mythic characters. Oh, and see the number 3, I flipped that around. There's the Miragon activation token. Some of that got flipped around at some point. So they're mythic characters of rank 1. So it's always cool. They can get mixed into your decks then. 4 speed, 3 sight, 6 attack and defense. Physical and psychic defense, 5 health. Attack that does 2 and burn. Flanks, Brunner, and immunity to being burned. Anyway, we have a lot of fire guys. We have some ice guys. Earth guys. We need some like ice guys in this game. It's kind of what Chronos sort of would have been, but not 100%. So I'm going to look at what Phanix does again for this set, because that is a special keyword there. This model's attack gains a target against another adjacent model. The same faction gains +1 damage. So if they kind of stick together, they do extra damage. And then right below this is Runner. For each time spent on this move, the model can move 2 squares, because they can fly, so they can move a little bit faster. They can't be burnt as well. And then we'll get the enemy draft card to go with that as well. So if you ever need that, and it does have the little 3 up there to match the back of that symbol. I think the other one we can show off that's not really a spoiler are the new injury cards. So there are 4 of them. And how these are going to work is, if you're playing against him, you have to have these separate, because they need to be drawn specifically for this match. But otherwise, you can just mix and match them into the rest of your game. So having some new injuries is kind of fun. Damage to the temple. Psychic test costs you 1 additional time. Branded by fire. You gain a burn token at the beginning of each of your activations. Calf injury. If your move +3 squares in your activation, suffer a damage. And Purulent Laceration. Your attacks that use dexterity, physical, and psychic must reroll 1 choice. Reroll 1 success obtained of your choice. So that's really cool. Just extra little injuries. This is the stuff I love in expansions. Personally, I love obviously new characters, new like enemies to fight and stuff like that. So it's cool. But I love some of these little mini cards that have been cool. I do wish that these burning trees had a scenic element card, like they do in the stretch goal box. but this might not have been designed when the stretch goals were being done, because those are kind of cool because they add like little extra abilities and things to the cards so you can add in there. So that would have been neat to have those. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and look at the rest of the content. To reveal I'm going to show off all the different scenario cards. We're going to see exactly what it does in there. As well as we're going to look at all the other little stuff there. There's a plot book in here too for that. Yeah, we just don't want to spoil anything. Actually, before I head into that, really quick, use a side campaign. Basically, just one big thing is if you play it, you have to play both missions. If you decide to quit after the encounter but before the hunt, you have to start over. The only exception is if you defeat the hunt, you can then now just play the hunt again like a regular hunt mission. So that is one thing there. The little trees are going to have that little red icon, so it's kind of neat. There's also the bounty in case you just want to jump in and play that right away. And then large models. The big gist of how they work is they take up like multiple squares. You pick one of the squares they're standing on if you need to move them. And then they move that many squares over as if it was like a single model. And then they have to place their character who each one of their parts in that corner. And they can rotate around to make sure they fit. If there are other models in the space, they will just shove all them out to the side. If there's a terrain in the way, they can't move the terrain, so they'll have to rearrange a different direction. Yeah, and then also with the area of effect attacks, if you have something that does like a burst or a cross effect, if they're the target, any part of them is the target, they're considered the target, and they only take that damage, not the adjacent stuff. And if they are only in the adjacent stuff, they only take one hit regardless of how many spaces they cover. So, just some quick stuff there. Alright, so then spoilers for the rest of the stuff. So if you kind of know what you're getting in the box now. You're getting a full hunt mission, you're getting 4 new treasures, 2 new missions. So, again, kind of see if that's worth it. If you want to see what the exact content is to see if it's worth it even more, stick around. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Alright, so we're going to start off with our event mission, which is A World in Flames. You need a small line of refugees on the road, fleeing from their village, tell you the bandits with configured faces have set their homes on fire. Alright. And then we're going to have our ritual starting quest. I'm going to scooch this back a bit. So we're going to have 1 tree, 1 burnt tree, 2 bushes, 2 stones, 3 arbicuzers, they're going to be the judge of flames, 1 stragot, which is a redeemer of flames, tile 1A and M, tile 11A and 5A, I think M is probably for mud, and then 1 event token. Yeah, so I love this also, you getting to use these other miniatures as other different random characters. We did that throughout the regular core campaign, but they were just like, oh, instead of just being this guard or this whatever for Rome or Vienna, they were specific people. Here they've added some of these where they get to play other characters in the world. So here we go. Yeah, we're going to have that mud tile in between them. There's a little map. So you're going to have, where's that? Those guys are on one side. This guy's down here at the bottom. I mean, you guys have to kind of get through everything. So interesting. So even the first thing, you're not fighting Hyperion right away. It says read H1-2. We're just going to go ahead and jump into the next card. So we have the Redeemer of Flames, who have 6 and 5 defense, respectively. Does 3 damage to this physical attack and causes burn. Mutation. When this model is defeated, roll 1 die and compare the result to the number of indicated on the slot occupied by the mutation token on card 5. If the result is equal to or less than the number, read H1-10. If the result is greater than the model indicated, this model and move the mutation token 1 slot forward. Okay, interesting. So we're going to have this little mutation token on there. We'll see how that gets when we get there. But if we do defeat him, he's a mercenary. We get a reagent. On the other hand, we have the Arcabruiser, Judge of Flame. I love that they also changed their outfits. They could have just as easily just left them in the same pictures. They're the same stances, but they have different pictures. Says 5 and 5 for his defense. He has a 3 attack, but he has Reload 1, Pierce, Shooter, and Burn. And then he has Mutation as well. A little bit stronger guy, but I think there was only one of him. Then if we go to card 4, it says the mission goal is at least one of the heroes on a square in the orange area. Read H15. Heroes defeat 3 RKO or the hologram strikes 1130. And then attack the enemy. So what was the orange area? Okay, so what you gotta do is get all the way across the entire map. So your goal isn't even to defeat these guys. Obviously, like maybe defeating this guy before you get up to these guys might definitely be helpful. But once you get up there, you can have someone trying to sneak past. And then you could go ahead and continue with the mission. Interesting. Alright, so here's our mutation track. Ritual of Mutation. Place the mutation slot on token on slot 1. When the minute hand on the hologram reaches the event token in the Gemini and Sagittarius sections, move the mutation tokens 1 slot forward. Interesting. And then it also said if you defeat on these guys, right? If the result is greater than the number, remove the smile and move the mutation 1 spot forward. So, if defeated, roll 1 die and compare the result to the number indicated slot in the mutation track. So you're going to roll a die and see if it's anywhere between up to 8. If the die is greater, you're going to remove this guy. So basically, the longer it takes, the less chance you're going to have to remove that guy for a mutation token. Interesting. Here's probably something bad happens if that gets all the way up there. Alright, so our mission is enemy's goal additional. Judge of the Flames. Attack the heroes without ever leaving the squares they're in until a hero becomes adjacent to at least one of them. From then on, attack the heroes in the following regular rules. Special rule is Muddy Bank. The first time a hero enters a green square area during a mission, read 1A14. Malevolent Soil. Hero begins their activation on tile M. The first step must perform the following test. Survival. Put 2+, nothing happens. Move the mutation track forward on the slot and then start the mission. Interesting. So I want you to read 1-4. So the first time a hero enters a green square in the mission, to read that. So then it says, I just want to read one of these. Place 2 stride-out models on tile 1A squares adjacent to the tree, or if occupied, available squares close to the tree as possible. If not present, place an enemy activation on the hologram sector in the bottom and continue the mission. So 2 more strata jump out, what's this at? For the branches of the trees, other followers of the flame throw themselves on you, ready to give you battle. It seems they don't have to want to find out what you are planning. So that's kind of cool, actually. Like, as you're playing through, your goal is to get across, and you might just be like, oh, I'll just keep running across. But as soon as you hit that, more guys are going to appear. So then now you have to protect yourself from both sides. That's pretty fun. Alright, so we got a couple more here. Let's see what we have. Oh, so when we hit that orange area, it's going to reveal another map tile. Which is going to then pop up like this, get populated in different directions. So more enemies are going to appear. That's neat. That's kind of a cool mechanic of the game. And why using this book is really neat. Alright, then we have replace for the hero's goal. At least one area is in a purple sector. Defeat if it tailed or 1130. And then the last thing is if there are no more Mirrodins on the battlefield, H1, otherwise, or H18, heroes defeat. Enemies go attack all the heroes and continue the mission. So I'm guessing eventually if that thing reaches all the way to the top, it's going to say remove all enemy models for the game area except for the Mirrodin models. Place the Mirrodin models in indicated spots on the map. So yeah, at some point they're going to change over into the Mirrodins. I'm just seeing if it says specifically like that. Yeah. Jazz, we have like H10 here. Replace the defeated model with a mirror game. Not represented active in there. And return the location slot to 1. So yeah, I'm guessing if that meter hits up to a certain height, then they're gonna go ahead and activate. And then now you have to fight harder enemies. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Then we jump into the hunt. So if we beat that, we get to go to the hunt, but you don't get a rest phase. You have to jump right into the hunt if you want to do it, or you have to completely abandon the mission altogether, which is then you have to start over. So this one you have Hyperion, his action deck, do not shuffle or reveal. Like all the other hunts, after the first time you beat him, you can shuffle it up if you want a little bit more challenge. 4 bird trees, 3 regular trees, 3 mirrorgons, and then tiles 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8, then the treasure cards. Here's the back of card 1. You can pause and read that if you want. Otherwise, that's what our map will look like. This is how most boss fights look. You're going to get your big enemy in the middle, and then all the other guys on the outside. And we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, we had nothing that mentioned what 1, 2, 3, or 4 are. So, except we don't have the burned trees on there yet. So reveal the back of card 2. You can read up on the hunts, activate campaign sheet, then reveal this card. Hyperion is defeated, reveal card 6. Enemies, goal, mirror guns attack the hero, defeat heroes condition with 3 heroes are defeated. 5, and cards can be drawn in 5. So 6 is your success, 5 is your loss, like normal. Special rules. This hunt follows the normal rules. Flames of Hyperion. Any hero who is on a tile with a burned tree inside cannot discard the burn token in any way, even if Hyperion action card instructs you to discard it. Oh, interesting. And it says, then read the back of card number 4. So I have some more story there. I'll flip that over, and we'll have mission action. Pay 3 time to destroy the tree. Only if it gets into a burn tree, perform a physical test. If you obtain at least 2 successes, remove the burn tree. Then the last one we have here is before we get to the winning, we have Hyperion himself, who has 7 physical, 6 psychic defense, 35 health, fate, sturdy, and trample, immune to poison and immune to burn. Does 1 damage and he has burn. He has swiftness, which gives him an 8 for his time. And he has blazing. Whenever Hyperion is attacked by an adjacent hero with a physical attack, there's at least 1 moon symbol in the test result. Hero gains a burn token. Each time a hero faces a defense test against Hyperion and obtains at least 1 moon, that hero gains a burn token. So if you roll moons, you're going to get burned. Very interesting. And then hero with the highest premium, least damage, furthest hero, and then standard. So yeah, other than that, he's just kind of like a big giant boss guy. He doesn't have any like other special mechanics. We're seeing till we look at his hunt deck. Then we have the last 2 things basically. If you lose, suffer your damage. Each has at least 1 damage on hero rolls. They draw a card from his injury deck and gains the injury described. So that's the only reason you have to have them separate, because you're going to gain one of the new special injuries. Otherwise, you just normally mix them in, which I think is fun. They could have made them like very specific to this mode, but I like the idea is you can just mix in any ones. And then if you win, he does have a little bit different setup for his. So his is on, if there are 0 to 2 action cards left, you gain 1. 3 to 4 is 2, 5 to 6 is 3, and 7 plus is 4. So he's the only hunt that you potentially only have, if you do really well, you'd only have to fight him once. Yeah, so it's very interesting. Cool. Alright, then let's check out his hunt deck. So in his hunt deck, he's going to have a dive attack. I'm going to zoom these up a little bit since they're smaller. Hyperion places himself adjacent to the furthest hero and then performs a falling attack on them. 4 damage with a stun. Fiery sweep. Hyperion attacks all heroes within 2 range. The attack gains +1 against targets that have a burned token, and he does 2 damage already. Call of the Legionnaires. Replace the tree mark with the number 1 with a burning tree. If there are fewer than 3 mirrorgons on the battlefield, place a Miragon adjacent to the newly placed burned tree so that it's close to any hero. If not present, place a Miragon activation token on there. If not revealed, read the back of card number 4. Explains just how you can destroy the trees. So that's kind of cool. So they don't start out, he has to wait till he eventually summons them. And then each tree will bring a new one, but then you can slowly start to destroy them. Wave of Fire. Hyperion plays himself. He has as many heroes as possible in his line of sight, then performs a following attack with a burned token in his sight. After the attack, discard the burn. All targets discard the burn token. Unless, of course, that tree is there, then they can't get rid of it. Challenge Strike. Hyperion moves along the shortest path, becomes adjacent to the target hero, performs a following attack to them. All models in his path are moved 1 square and gain a burn token. Call of the Legionnaires. Now he's going to do the same thing for spot number 2. Breath of Flames. Such a adjacent target performs a following attack. If he's not adjacent to a hero, he moves until he becomes adjacent and then does not perform the attack. But there's a breath area with 2 damage and burn. Healing Flames. For each hero with a burn token on his sight, Hyperion discards 1 damage. Each hero may discard a burn token. If they do not, discard 1 damage from their hero sheet. Interesting. So they kind of get a little bit of a healing effect too, if they stay burned. So if they're by the tree. Call of the Legionnaires for spot 3. Another Wave of Fire, so there's going to get just to repeat ones. Challenge Strike. Fiery Sweep. Call of the Legionnaires for spot 4. Breath of Flames. Healing Flames. Wave of Heat. Performs an attack on each hero in his line of sight. Checks for 2 psychic and does burn 1 to 5. And then Solar Storm. So the last one's always their devastating one. Hyperion places himself in the center of the map, performs a following attack on each hero in sight. Remove all Miragons from the battlefield. Attack gains +1 success for each Miragon removed this way. Remove all burned trees from the battlefield. Gains extra 1 psychic for each burn token removed this way. Does 5 damage. So more or less, whenever they hit their final ability, it's if you haven't defeated them by this is their last chance. Like, you have to defeat them before they draw their next card, but they're going to go all out. And basically, if you've gotten rid of all the Miragons and all the trees, this isn't going to be so devastating. But if you haven't, it's going to do a lot harder to check for it, as well as defend against it, as well as it's also going to have more successes. So definitely a pain if you haven't done that yet. Very cool though. No, I say if you've already played them once, you want to do the hunt a second or third time, you can always shuffle this up. So then you might be summoning the Miragons at different times, or they might be healing. There might not be any trees out, so some of the attacks might falter. Some might get stronger, because you could summon 2 Miragons on the first turn. So that makes more than burning trees out as well, with the Legionnaire ability, which makes then it's harder to get rid of them. The only thing I might almost recommend would be putting this card always at the end, no matter what. So if that appears like on like turn 2 or something, maybe not so bad, but if it turns like in the middle of the game, and you haven't had a chance to like, because I'm even like the last time you get a Legionnaire summon, you have 1, 2, 3, you have 3 full other turns after that summon to try and get rid of that tree and that Miragon. Otherwise, if this hits like right after 2 of them, you're pretty much boned. Alright, then the last thing we have to look at are the 4 reward cards. These are what we can gain. Extra equipment. So we have the Twins. 2 hands worth of swords. Range of 1. Crit does critical 2. Pay 5. Perform an attack with this weapon. This attack gains lethal with a star. So nice, you can do an extra attack with it. The Miragon Helmet. Resistance 1. Enemy needed to burn. The Blazing Cloak Armor has resistance to 1. Pay 3, discard 1 damage from one of your equipment cards. And the Miragon Armor. Resistance 2. If you obtain at least 1 moon when you perform a defense task, an enemy adjacent gains a burn token. So they're really cool. And yeah, none of the hunt or the hunt reward cards and any of the things are like overpowered. You're not like, oh, if I bought this expansion and I have this, I'm going to automatically win every match. but they are definitely very unique and very powerful. They're going to make it worth wanting to pick them up. I just want to look at one of the burned trees here. So that's what one of the burned trees looks like built, or you could probably, I guess you could probably flip it the other way too if you want. I don't know if it'll make much of a difference. If I can figure out how to undo this. Yeah, and it still basically look the same, half of a burning tree. Yeah, I really wish there was a scenic element card for that, though. Alright, but that is what we have for Nova Aetas Renaissance, as well as Black Rose Wars Hyperion set. So, if you're looking for a Nova Aetas, you want a brand new hunt to play as, a new side mission to do, get some new scenic elements. If you're playing your own custom games, you also get some new draft enemies. So even if you don't do the hunt, like your other stuff, you're going to get new injuries, new draft cards. You can always just, hey, if you don't care, just add the equipment right into your things to be able to get somehow. So that's cool. In the Black Rose Wars, you're getting a brand new mage, as well as some new forgotten spells, some new evocations, which are really fun as well. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.